Yeah, yeah. Get your ass up and hurry.
And an interesting story, my son-in-law is a dentist, and when we went to his graduation 3 years ago, it was quite a wonderful thing to see him graduate, because he started having what they thought were heart attacks. They weren't quite sure what it was. His last semester, he was president of the class, and he was very busy, and he couldn't come home for lunch anymore to eat my daughter's healthy meals, and so he was studying at school for finals and boards and all the other activities associated with the work that he did as president. And so he started eating fast foods and foods out of machines, and he was raced to the hospital 3 times with this racing heart, and it was very frightening for all of us. And my daughter would mention, maybe it's what you're eating, could it be MSG? And he would quickly say, oh, that's your family, that's not mine. And by the 3rd time he said, okay, just pack me a lunch. Well, he got better. He never had a problem after that. And the only time he reacts is if he gets too much MSG. So I have had to learn from my family and from my friends and my 12 grandchildren, and of course anybody who's willing to listen and have an open mind and second think some of these symptoms that they're having and the food that they're eating. And glutamate can even be found in vitamins and in the fillers and the binders and the gelatin capsules. There's the gelatin, the gel cap. Candy, fruit drinks, chewing gum, breast mints, toothpaste, mouthwash, even in baby formula, cosmetics and shampoos. And again, the low-fat dairy products I told you about, I started to tell you that, you know, they pump it up with this dry milk, but now they're also adding things like carrageenan and pectin, which do contain some glutamate, because carrageenan is made from, or genin is made from seaweed, and seaweed was the original source of MSG.
Right.
Many, many years ago. And but even today, I have a friend who went to China, and she was fine when she ate in the small villages. And she said the only type of MSG they used, they took seaweed, dry seaweed, and they put boiling water over it, let it steep a little bit, and then they added a little bit to the whole dish to enhance the flavor. And she never reacted to anything in the small villages, but when she got to Hong Kong, she ate the more touristy restaurants there, she got so sick. And, of course, you know, in the small villages in Japan and in China, they might eat a whole meal of vegetables and a little bit of meat in a stir fry, and they might use some of the more natural sources or a little MSG. But in the big cities, in the big restaurants, a tourist will order maybe 7 different dishes, and they each contain a large source of MSG.
Well, Debbie, what would you recommend to our audience, let's say if a person wanted to begin to phase out MSG in his or her diet?
I would first go to our website, and you can find lots of information there. The hidden names are there. They can be printed up.
Good.
And take it with you when you go shopping. Learn them. Put them inside your cupboard. Our book is a wonderful source of information. That's why we wrote it, for the new person to this who wants to change their eating and who is a victim of MSG toxicity. And that can be found at our website, and it's available there. And also there's a whole list of the symptoms are there. And then I would just read and read. Go to these other websites that I've mentioned, and arm yourself with the knowledge, and don't be afraid to buy that pineapple instead of that canned pineapple, or
right.
You know, just don't, and make it a game. Try new fruits and vegetables you've never tried before. And the internet is a wonderful source of recipes and how to cook them. We have over 400 recipes in our book. And then start shopping and looking for healthy, whole food, and that is the secret. Foods closest to their natural form, the way God intended us to eat. And these processed foods, I mean, the food industry knows that we rely on them. We are so busy today. And so we do rely on a lot of fast foods, and I did personally myself. I did. It was so much easier to open up that can of chili. But yeah, I will never do that because I will never go back to the health I had before. I had one foot in the grave. I had what would be diagnosed as fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue syndrome today. It was not even a word a few years ago. But now everybody has those conditions, it seems like, or somebody that they know. I would just say, make sure when you buy chicken that it's not injected. If you have a question, there are 800 numbers on almost every package. People can call on their cell phone right from the store, and they can ask for somebody who can tell them what the meaning of a certain additive is, or if there is MSG in their particular product or frozen product or whatever it is. But mostly, I rely on very, very healthy foods. Mild cheeses. The more aged it is, the more glutamate it will have because the enzymes will break down the peptide linkages in the milk, and as it dries, it will become concentrated glutamic acid. So I don't do a lot of Parmesan. I may do a teeny, teeny bit on my spaghetti. But I do not use it regularly, and I do go for more of the Colby Jack, the mozzarella, the mild cheeses. Whole wheat flour and white flour that has no malted barley flour is better. Rye flour, brown rice flour is good. Fresh fruits and vegetables, as I said. Green leafy, collards, romaine, cabbage, broccoli. Steam them, saute them. Put real butter. Don't use margarine. Use olive oil. These other products have too many additives and chemicals. Buy pork that's not tenderized. Lactic acid, they use lactic acid, and lactic acid is actually not made from milk. It's made from sugar beets, and sugar beets are very high in glutamic acid. And that's why we tell people, if you're going to use real white sugar, make sure that it's cane sugar, not beet sugar. Beef, sparingly. Eggs, I use eggs. Be careful your beef has not been injected with all kinds of chemicals, hormones, and as you said before, and MSG. They do actually inject it with MSG as they do chicken in some places. Fresh salmon, sole, oysters. We eat that. Tonight we just had fresh scallops and shrimp, and it was from frozen shrimp from Costco because I cannot eat. The little tiny shrimp has a lot of sulfites added to it, and so I have to avoid that. Dry beans, canned beans, if they're rinsed well and they don't have any MSG or any of these other words that I've given you added to them. Lemons, use fresh lemons for dressing to make salad dressing. I use organic apple cider vinegar. I don't. A lot of dressings that you buy, commercial dressings, contain MSG added to them. Again, oils, I stick to mostly olive, sometimes sunflower, and coconut oil. There's a lot now about coconut oil being very healthy for us.
Right.
And nuts, raw, toasted. I toast almonds, walnuts, make sure they're not sulfured. Flaxseed is wonderful, sesame seeds. I make sweets at home. I make my own cakes and cookies, and I make large batches, and I freeze them. So I always have it on hand. I eat things like Akmak crackers, Ruffles, instead of flavored potato chips. Potato chips with all the flavoring is not good. Of course, it's MSG in most of those crackers and chips to flavor them. I eat a little bit dark chocolate and use cocoa in my cooking. But milk chocolate, again, has dry milk solids, and my skin gets real itchy if I eat chocolate that has milk in it, dry milk or dry whey in it. Again, I use honey. I use stevia, how it's pronounced. Go easy on brown sugar because it does have molasses in it, and also glutamate because molasses is rich in glutamate naturally. Go easy on corn, tomatoes, and mushrooms. I eat them, but I just don't overdo and I don't overcook them because, again, the heat can break down the bound glutamate. The peptide linkages are broken down by heat, converted to free glutamate, the form that is easily reaches our brain, bloodstream.